Hey everyone, it's Zoe. Welcome back to another live Q&A. If you are watching the replay, just click forward a couple of minutes. I'll just wait for everyone to log on as per usual. And while I do that, sorry, my setup's a little bit different today. While I do that, I am just going to make sure that I've got everything up that I need and that I'm on the group page. Perfect. Hey Janine, how are you? How are you going? I know you are working crazily at the moment. We're thinking of you. I hope everything is okay, or as okay as it can be. Sarah's here too. Welcome, Sarah. How are you? Today we're going to have a chat about alcohol, guys. So if you've got any particular questions about alcohol, just let me know. I'll just bring up my page. Perfect. And if there's any other questions as well, I think Jade would ask me about fluids, so we'll talk about that too. If there's anything else that you want me to chat about as we go through, just let me know. I think there's actually quite a few people here, but I cannot see who you are, so can you say hi? Sometimes Facebook shows me who's watching and sometimes it doesn't. It shows that the numbers are different to who's flicking up on the screen. So please let me know who you are and how you are, and if you have any questions, and I'll answer them when we get to it. We have a couple of other things to talk about tonight, so I will sort of do a little bit of a roundup at the end of the live Q&A as well. Oh, Jade's here. Awesome. Hi, Jade. How's that crazy puppy of yours going? Hello. Ree's here as well. Welcome. All right, so I might as well get started actually. I've seen quite a few memes and posts about alcohol, especially at the moment, because obviously people are spending a bit more time at home. Maybe things are a little bit more stressful. Maybe you're homeschooling your kids and trying to work from home. Maybe you, like Janine, are still working as a healthcare worker. Maybe things are a bit stressful from a financial point of view, and sometimes I think it's pretty easy to turn to alcohol. So I wanted to have a quick chat about it, really. It's something important that we need to talk about after a sleeve, because it does change your tolerance to alcohol. And Rihanna's just said, I'm a cheap drunk these days. It's absolutely correct. Also, in addition to alcohol hitting you harder, actually there's some literature to suggest that alcoholism after surgery is a risk. And it tends to be because if people are struggling to adapt to their new way of eating, or they are struggling to adapt to, I guess, the physical changes and the mental changes that need to happen with surgery. Sometimes if you have had a history of relying on alcohol or drinking heavily, sometimes that can replace eating and becomes a problem. So we've definitely seen it in our clinic. It's in the literature, and it's something that we just need to be aware of, I guess. So, I mean, there's a couple of reasons. Maybe we start with the bad and then we can have a look at the good to do with alcohol. So one of them, I guess, is obviously leading to a dependence on alcohol is not good, and it's something that we need to be really, really careful of. Also, because of the change in your anatomy, it does hit you harder. So look, some people sort of say that one drink is equivalent to two. It's something to be very mindful of if you are going to drive after drinking, and it's recommended that people who have had weight loss surgery do not drive after drinking anything. It the reason for it basically is some people think it's due to a change in the enzymes that are available in your new stomach, and also it's absorbed a bit more quickly than it used to be, and it can actually lead to other symptoms like dumping. So Ria's just said that she dumps with alcohol. Usually the more sugary alcohols tend to cause dumping, but I think the most important thing is sometimes it can be replacing some good quality nutrients, and we know that alcohol has calories in it. And the thing about alcohol is that it doesn't really have much else apart from giving you a bit of a buzz. It's got like a few antioxidants in a red wine, which is why red wine is touted as being good for heart disease. But apart from that, it's really just calories, and that's it. And when you look at alcohol on a calorie per gram scale, alcohol has almost as many calories per gram as fat, much more than carbohydrates and protein. So it is really something that we need to keep as a sometimes food. As what's the Cookie Monster? Cookie Monster is now saying that cookies are sometimes foods in Sesame Street. So we want to keep alcohol as a sometimes food. The only thing though, like I'm not completely against alcohol really, but sort of trying not to get in a habit of it is the biggest thing. So before we turn to it, let's check, do I really feel like have I had a meal? Is this likely to replace my meal? Am I using it to soothe myself? So is it replacing food as a method of comfort or soothing? Because if that's the case, then we really don't want to be turning to alcohol. We want to find some more healthy coping mechanisms. I actually saw a picture today, I might post it in the group, of what's called a stress bucket. I don't know if anybody else has seen it. Has anybody seen the stress bucket? Maybe hit like if you have. But basically this stress bucket is, you think about all of things that are stressing you out heading into this big bucket. All right, and we have, so at the moment it's probably those things I mentioned at the top, like maybe finances, family, homeschooling your kids, working from home, maybe other work issues, family issues. They all pour into the stress bucket, and what you have at the bottom of the bucket, which is letting the water go out, are healthy coping mechanisms like, I don't know, exercise, meditation, eating well, sleep, talking to someone, social connection, those sorts of things. And they basically let the water out of the bucket. And so the aim really is to not let the bucket tip over, to fill up and then spill over. And one other thing that we think lets the stress out of the bucket are those unhealthy coping mechanisms like turning to junk food or drinking alcohol. And they actually, whilst they let water out of the bottom of the bucket, they actually go back around and tip it back in the top, because it's not helpful in the long run. So I've done a terrible job of explaining the stress bucket, but I will post a picture in the group. I'm going to write that down now. Tell me if that made sense. I guess the main point about the stress bucket is that alcohol, whilst it might feel like it is helping at the time, it doesn't help in the long run. So we want to try and figure out a better way to cope with stress. So really, I guess to sum it up, the odd drink is fine after a sleeve, but what we don't want to do is become reliant on alcohol. And if you feel like you are struggling with alcohol and you feel like you might be becoming reliant, then definitely please talk to somebody about it, a counsellor, your GP, your dietitian, whoever it is that you feel comfortable speaking with, because it is in the literature as an increased risk of alcoholism after surgery. So we want to be careful about that. Kelly, having a dry week this week. Me too. Hopefully we can do it together, Kelly. Have you noticed any differences so far? Do you notice anything when it comes to alcohol? Is there stuff that you can't drink? Does it hit you harder than it used to? Is there things like, have you found that you're relying on it more than you used to as a coping mechanism? Because the other thing about alcohol is it's a liquid, so it's a bit easier to drink than eat sometimes if you feel like you need it as a coping mechanism. So I'd love to hear from you. Tell me all about alcohol. And while I'm waiting for those comments to come in, Jade just asked quickly on the group, Jade, I'm just going to it now, about fluids and what counts as fluids, because some of the weekly challenges we've put up in the last couple of weeks have been about drinking enough fluids. So some people are aiming for 1 litre, some people are aiming for 1.5, some people are aiming for 2, and I think it's a really, really good goal to aim for. And that's the other thing that is my big goal this week, is drinking enough water. So I've got some right here. I find it particularly hard working at home for some reason. It's completely changed my my drinking habits, and a bit more alcohol and a little less water. And so Jade, basically anything counts as fluids in terms of like contributing to your hydration. Even coffee and tea will contribute to hydration. It will, whilst coffee or caffeine is a diuretic, it's a slight diuretic, it's mild, and you'll actually gain sort of more from a cup of coffee in terms of liquids than you will pee out from the caffeine. However, there's obviously better choices than tea and coffee. And water is obviously the best choice. Diet cordial I count, water with a bit of flavour from maybe a bit of fruit. Milk would count as liquids. So milk in your cereal, for example, even counts as liquids. Watermelon counts as liquid. We actually get quite a lot of liquid and hydration from the food we eat. But obviously not as much as you would if you drank a glass of water or a glass of diet cordial. If you're really struggling with water itself, you can even just dilute a little bit of fruit juice. Chuck a couple of pieces of fruit in your bottle. So like if I was to chuck a couple of bits of lemon, a few berries, bit of mint, whatever is floating around, bit of pear, bit of apple, just to flavour it, that works too. I know other people have enjoyed the Tetley's cold tea infusions that you just again chuck in your bottle, and it's just a flavour. I often will use a Barocca as a flavour, so instead of putting, or a like an electrolyte tablet like High Five, which is a sports brand, but Hydrolyte is another one, and they're really good because they've got some of the electrolytes in it. It's actually absorbed a little bit better even than water. And what I tend to do is I'll put 1 Barocca or 1 electrolyte tablet in the whole bottle, so dilute it down a bit because I find them too strong otherwise. So anybody else have any good things that they are trying? And I'm just looking at yours, Jade. At the moment, I'm trying to get 1 of the soda streams a day and my coffee. I mean to get more than 1 of the soda streams. Yeah, perfect. The only thing with soda stream is any carbonated drinks will impact your teeth. So dentists don't love them, but I quite a big fan of them, and especially if it makes it easier for you to drink it and you're going to drink more, then I think why not go for it. Probably the key is just mixing it up over the day if you're not a big water drinker. Kelly uses fruit infusions. Janine, great. Janine drinks Protein Perfection protein water. And Janine, that reminds me, I just posted in the group today. I was going to say this at the end. I'll say it at the end as well. But as of today, if you guys use the code LWAS, LWAS 15, like living with a sleeve 15, at cost price supplements, you can get 15% off the Protein Perfection and the Feel Good protein products. And actually a few more products on their website than that. There's a few exceptions, but have a look at that post that I've put up today. It's also in the members section of the website, in the community resources section as well, along with things like Bodhi's protein water and the Formulite soups. We get a discount on those as well too. And the protein is good too because you get a little bit of a double whammy, I guess. You're getting a bit of extra protein in too, so that's really good. Oh no. Janine's just posted and said that she just bought 4 packets 2 days ago. Bad timing. Hold it for next time. It should still be there, Janine, so you can use it next time. Sarah says she makes a big jug of peppermint tea and drinks it throughout the evening, and that's a good one. You can actually, make a big pot of herbal tea, big pot of peppermint tea, drink it hot or cold, and play around with the temperature as well. Some people find it difficult to drink room temperature drinks, but ice cold drinks are easier, or hot drinks are easier. And the reason water is so hard is because of the viscosity of water. It actually makes it feel like it's hard to swallow, so you're not going crazy. As soon as you add some flavour, or you change the temperature, it actually changes the viscosity of the water. So what's it called, that word? Is it the meniscus around a glass of water right on the edge? You learnt that in like primary school science, where it sticks to the edge of the glass a little bit. That is often bigger in water than it is in a flavoured drink. So it's why we feel like it's difficult to swallow. Alright, I'm just going back a little bit. Okay. So Kelly has said alcohol definitely hits her harder than it used to. Work was really stressful for the last month, so was using it as a bit of a coping mechanism, and things are settling down now, so it's going to be easier. Great, Kelly. I know for you as well, that would have been really, really stressful at work. I can only imagine. And Sarah said I can only drink biodynamic wine, otherwise I get bad reflux. That's interesting, Sarah. I wonder if it's to do with the preservatives, like the sulfites in the regular wine. And what, did you have that before or not? Was that something I'd be interested to know if that's something new? And Ree said that she's a really cheap drunk. So, all right. The meniscus, good. Thank you, Janine. I always worry about that word because the meniscus is in your knee as well, and I always think I might be getting it confused. All right. So, if there's no other questions about alcohol or about fluids, I might just go back through the group a little minute. So obviously we've been trying the new format for the weekly challenges, which I have been super happy to see lots of comments and lots of people committing to different things, which is good. Those will continue just with lots of different ideas each week, so you can pick and choose. On top of that, after the last live Q&A, we did start the accountability partners. We've got a few little groups formed, and from what I hear so far, they're going really well. Each group has just sort of picked and choose exactly kind of the way that they're going to sorry, let me just stop all the noises. The way that they're going to manage the accountability partner group. So I know, for example, Jenny and Sue and Victoria, because they're all in different time zones, with Victoria being in the States, they've been sort of catching up a little bit over Zoom, a little bit over Facebook, sort of just messaging. And so if you are interested and you're not already in an accountability group, let me know. I might post that post again, and I'm just writing it down now, and see if anybody else is keen, and we can start forming a couple of other little groups. It's just nice, I think, having another little point of social contact, another little point of support. So I wanted to give you all that, and we might look at the future at a way of making it a little bit more formal, by maybe using something like the Bariastic app. So I would love to know if any of you have used that, if you've got any comments on it. I'm sort of looking into it at the moment, so I'll let you know how we go with that. And Jade and Sarah, I'm glad that you like the new format. That's good. We've also had some great product recommendations come up in the group in the last couple of days. So if there is anything that you see, that you buy, that you try, please post it in the group. The more the merrier, especially at the moment. If you've found something new, or you've got a new recipe that you're giving a go that you like, let the group know. I've also, speaking of recipes, put another little collection of slow cooker recipes up on the blog, and you are able to add that to your favorites collection or to your meal plans if you're creating them on the website too. So feel free, if you're not sure how to do that, to let me know and I can point you in the right direction. There's a slow cooked lentil dal, an Italian chicken, and a beef and mushroom casserole. So if we're sort of heading, and I think even here in Sydney it's going to be about 17 on Friday, so we're heading now, that sort of nice autumn summery weather is leaving us, and we're heading towards Melbourne temperatures, I think. So we'll definitely have the slow cooker out for sure. Let me see what else. I will keep doing the general chats as well. We've been doing them sort of once a week, and it's been lovely we've sort of had only sort of maybe 4 or 5 people on at a time, but it's just been really lovely to have a chat with a few of you and get to know you all a little bit more. And so that's been really good. And Jade would love ones that are into Zoom too. Okay, Jade, I'll write that down, and I'll post it again, Jade, and if you want to perhaps post on there that you're interested in anybody else that's into Zoom or wants to catch up via Zoom, then just post on there, and hopefully we'll find you some more friends, some more adult contact. I think a few people are lacking adult contact, that's for sure. We had one of the neighbours come from Griffith today, and they're sort of, as soon as they showed up, I was in a little bit of a shock. I didn't really know what to do with people. It was quite weird. It took me a while to adjust. All right, so I think that's all. That's pretty much about it. The last blog post that I talked about was B12. That was sort of an informational blog post going up, was B12. And so we had a bit of a discussion about that in the last live Q&A. So if you're interested in that, just pop back and have a look at the videos. But I think if there's no other questions, let me know. Yeah, we're almost time, so I might log off, I reckon. We are having tuna mush, as my mum calls it, which my husband was terrified of. And then he's like, I could make a tuna casserole. I was like, I actually think that that's the same thing. It's just that we always called it a mush. So we're having that for dinner tonight. The other things that are sort of coming up, I'm working on some more blog posts. So if there's any other ideas that you guys have for blogs that you'd like me to cover, let me know. I'm in the process of doing one on cortisol and how that impacts weight loss after surgery. Also looking at reasons why you shouldn't have a surgery. A few more posts on the different nutrients and signs of deficiency as well. But if there's anything else that you want me to cover, please let me know. There's also a whole bunch of new recipes coming too. All right. So no other questions. I think I've jabbered on for long enough then. I will leave you all to it. And Jade, we will definitely, maybe I'll just post in the group and see if anybody is up for more chats on Facebook. We can definitely find you some people to talk to. Okay? And cool, interested in cortisol. I will get on to that one. I'll finish it off in the next week or so, Jade. All right. See you, everybody. I'll see you in the next fortnight. Night, guys. Bye.